The rivalry between China and the United States over industries such as rare earths, chips, and AI is intensifying, with both sides achieving victories. China has narrowed the AI gap with the United States through large models like DeepSeek, while the United States maintains an advantage in chip manufacturing due to its control over TSMC and ASML, enabling more efficient computing. Although Huawei's Cloud Matrix 384 supernode surpasses NVIDIA's computing cluster in absolute performance, it requires more chips and higher energy consumption. Breaking through the United States' chip manufacturing advantage remains a long journey for China. However, China holds a trump card: its dominance over rare earths. China controls over 70% of global rare earth supplies, with more than 80% of heavy rare earths. China's control spans the entire industry chain, from reserves and production to processing and refining, making it difficult to bypass any single link. For the United States to achieve rare earth independence, it would take at least 10 years, assuming everything goes perfectly. By then, the technological competition between China and the United States would likely have concluded. As the world's leading superpower, the United States has prepared for China's rare earth restrictions by covertly purchasing significant amounts through proxies like South Korea and India, ensuring a baseline supply. Although many U.S. companies have halted production due to shortages, the United States can hold out for now. In contrast, India and Europe were caught unprepared and are suffering greatly. India has sent representatives to Beijing to mend ties, but China distrusts India's opportunistic behavior. Given India's lack of leverage against China, the Chinese government will likely brush off these efforts. Compared to India, Europe considers itself far stronger, with an economic size comparable to China's. European leaders believe they can negotiate with China as equals. At the G7 summit, Ursula von der Leyen criticized China, accusing it of overcapacity in electric vehicles, providing massive state subsidies to companies, weaponizing rare earths, and disregarding international trade rules and contractual integrity. Frankly, I question whether von der Leyen is delusional. The European Commission is merely the EU's executive body, and she has no authority to make decisions on critical trade issues on behalf of France, Germany, or other member states. Provoking a strategic competitor like China comes with real consequences, and she seems unaware of her job description. Regarding her claim at the G7 summit about China's electric vehicle overcapacity, she conveniently forgets that China has been the largest market for European cars for decades. In her home country of Germany, brands like Volkswagen, Audi, BMW, and Mercedes have never outperformed Japanese cars in cost-effectiveness, but dominated China's market due to Chinese consumer preferences. Chinese consumers never complained about German or European car overcapacity. Instead, they focused on improving their own auto industry. Now that China's electric vehicles are competitive, why can't they enter the European market? Why are they suddenly labeled as overcapacity? As for subsidies, Europe's support for electric vehicles and renewable energy is among the world's largest in scale and intensity. Even the United States has substantial subsidy policies. If subsidies are a violation, everyone is guilty. You can't lose market competition and then blame others for subsidies while ignoring your own. Moreover, are China's subsidies the main reason for its company's competitiveness? Chinese electric vehicles sell for one-third or even one-fourth of European market prices due to fierce domestic competition. Companies must improve efficiency and cut costs to survive. European automakers, complacent with market monopolies and high profits, have failed to innovate. Shouldn't they face the challenge of new technologies? The accusation of China weaponizing rare earths is laughable. Europe first banned Chinese telecom companies like Huawei and ZTE from market bids under the guise of security, complied with U.S. tech bans, and blocked sales of high-tech products like lithography machines to China. These measures were not even for Europe's own security, but for the United States' so-called national security. ASML was once required to stop providing parts and after-sales service for machines already sold. Did Europeans consider WTO rules or business ethics when doing this? Let me remind von der Leyen, the one humiliating the EU with tariffs and forcing it to kneel is Trump. After being humiliated by the United States, the EU has repeatedly threatened retaliation but taken no meaningful action, behaving like a tamed lapdog. Yet, when facing China, the EU suddenly finds its confidence and seems eager to challenge. I urge European leaders to leash their pet before it bares its teeth everywhere. What gives Europe the right to flex its muscles against China? China can thrive without lithography machines. Huawei, despite losing the European market, remains the world's top 5G equipment supplier. Without rare earths, Europe will be left in tears. Stop overestimating your strength. China's willingness to negotiate is a gesture of respect. Know your place. You can't gain respect from the United States, so you expect it from China? China's respect is reserved for countries that genuinely treat it as a friend and seek cooperation. If the EU reverses its hostile policies and respects China's national interests, China will respect Europe's needs and supply rare earths promptly. Don't rush to anger. Do you think rare earths are China's only way to constrain Europe? If China chooses, it can supply Russia with countless drones, robotic dogs, shells, missiles, tanks, and fighter jets, letting you feel the wrath of the world's factory. I don't understand. To appease Europe, China has already upset Putin and even provoked North Korea's Kim Jong-un. What more must China do to be considered friendly to Europe? If you keep letting von der Leyen, this rabid dog, attack China, tell her to beg her American daddy for rare earths, not come to China to negotiate. Where is the heroic spirit of the French and German empires that once shook the world? How did Europe become the lackey of the nouveau riche United States? This is a timeless puzzle. Can any European netizen explain what's wrong with you? You claim to love peace and respect human rights, but turn a blind eye to Israel's atrocities in Gaza, acting as accomplices to the United States' endless wars. You defend Ukraine's independence and dignity, but buy Russia's oil and gas. You want European autonomy and independent diplomacy, but faithfully execute Washington's orders. What do you want? For you, China holds a carrot in one hand and a stick in the other. Choose wisely. Reasoning with you is utterly pointless. By the way, stop boycotting Xinjiang cotton. Muslims in Xinjiang live in peaceful sunlight. Care more about Muslims in Gaza and Iran, who face constant threats from US and Israeli bombs. Hurry up and boycott your American daddy.